known as the movie capital of the world, bringing films to audiences that provide entertainment and at times thought-provoking drama, Hollywood recently hosted a different kind of media through a unique forum broadcast live worldwide on Supreme Master Television on Saturday, July 26, 2008. The Climate Change International Conference was held at the Pacific Design Center in West Hollywood, California, USA. Organized by the Supreme Master Ching Hai International Association, it was a conference that brought together green Hollywood celebrities and notable speakers. Co-hosted by Emmy Award-winning television journalist and vegan Jane Velez Mitchell, the event was informative and the subject matter highly relevant. 3 panels were conducted, each with a different theme: the urgent scientific facts of the climate crisis, its spiritual perspectives, and the transformational role of the media. Invited as a special guest speaker, Supreme Master Ching Hai graciously attended via live video conference to answer questions from the panelists as well as the audience. We now invite you to join us for the rebroadcast of the Climate Change International Conference.
I'm investigative journalist and proud vegan Jane Velez Mitchell, and we are talking about how to save the world. People from all around the world are watching this broadcast, not just on the internet, but on satellite television. More than 14 satellites downloading this around the globe. So you in the audience and you at home, we are changing the world today. We have had amazing discussions so far, and it continues. Now we have a panel about spirituality and diet, and those 2 things are very, very linked. If you're talking about spirituality, but you're eating fast food and you're eating burgers, something is wrong. We're going to talk about why all life is sacred, and of course, we are, as always, delighted to have with us Supreme Master Ching Hai, the woman who is responsible for this message being spread around the world. Thank you once again, Supreme Master.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
We also have an amazing panel, and I'm very, very delighted to be able to meet in person Lionel Friedberg, who is the Emmy Award-winning producer and director of A Sacred Duty, which is an amazing documentary about the horrors of animal agriculture, and really, horror is the word. If any of you have ever seen this documentary, it really exposes the toxic secrets and the underbelly of this industry. Also delighted to have somebody who I'm a big admirer of, Dr. Elliot Katz, who is the president of In Defense of Animals, an organization that does so much for animals and really spreads the word about a host of problems involving the animal community, whether it's factory farming, testing on animals, across the board. And finally, once again, we have Dr. Will Tuttle, who is the best-selling author of the amazing book, The World Peace Diet, Eating for Spiritual Health and Social Harmony. As I mentioned, Supreme Master Ching Hai is joining us on an international web and satellite hookup, and we are very much delighted to have Supreme Master participating in this panel discussion.
Thank you, Jay. Lionel, in your opinion, what is the role of religious organizations and their part in overcoming today's dire crisis?
Well, clearly there are many facets and aspects to this whole business of global warming and climate change. And one of the most overlooked, I think, certainly in the media and in the mainstream media we're talking about here, is the matter of ethics and morals. Asking yourself the question, is there anything morally wrong with what we're doing to our world, to our planet, to the species with whom we share it? It really comes down to that. And the fact is that when you go beyond the political arguments and the scientific questions and the engineering aspects and so on and so forth, you really have to get into the profound moral side of global warming if we're going to touch the hearts of people and make people ponder on this on the deepest level. You know, ethics are what drives so much of what we do, and our moral fiber is what lies at the heart of so much of our decision making. If we don't exercise the right decisions in that aspect, what's going to happen? We might get more gas mileage out of an engine, but if we let the polar bears go extinct, what's the point of that? I think we have failed in our mission, and what we'll be left with is a morally bereft and depleted world. And I don't think any of us really want that. So religion, I think, plays a very large role in addressing these issues. I made a film called The Sacred Duty, which was produced for an organization called Jewish Vegetarians of North America. They underwrote the film, JVNA for short. And it dealt with all the aspects that we've been discussing here today, from the agricultural side, from the scientific side, from global warming, carbon dioxide, you name it, everything. But at the end of the movie, we addressed in no uncertain terms that really what it comes down to is what are we doing to those beings with whom we share this world with? And we're treating them pretty awfully. It pulled no punches in showing that. It turned a lot of people away from the film because they didn't want to know about this. They didn't want to deal with that sequence. And so I had to put a menu up front at the beginning of the DVD to allow people to jump over that segment if they wanted to. I didn't want to do that, but I was made to do that because people say, oh, I can't show this to kids and I can't show this to my mom-in-law and whatever else. But we have to start thinking about it on that level. You know, we had hoped that with this movie, which was made by a Jewish organization, but it addresses universal issues. It doesn't specifically address Jewish questions. It was made by a Jewish organization, but it looks at what does the Bible have to say? What do the great books of the Bible have to say? The 5 books of Moses. It incorporated texts and quotations from that in order to touch people, because a lot of people go to synagogues and temples and churches and mosques and whatever else, and this resonates with them. And so the film had this religious theme running through it in the hope that we would, reach a very large audience, not only in the Bible Belt, but everywhere. And what we had hoped was that established religion, be it Christianity or Islam or Buddhism or Judaism or Rosicrucianism or whatever, would eventually get together and come to a common platform and start addressing the issues of climate change, of global warming, and of our relationship to ourselves because of the health issues involved, and to the animals that we are abusing so horrifically in labs and on factory farms and slaughterhouses. I don't have to go into details. You all know what goes on. But we didn't reach enough people in the religious community. The religious community has, unfortunately, been very reticent to get together and to address these issues on a common platform. And I still, to this day, am wondering what that may all be about, why there is such apathy. I do think that in about 100 years, or maybe less from now, we'll be able to look back on this era and wonder how we allowed the Amazon rainforest to go up in smoke, how we allowed the great apes of Africa and Asia to become extinct. How did we allow the coral reefs to appear? Didn't we know what was going on? Didn't those who occupy the platforms, the religious platform, realize what was going on and speak out loudly about it? I shudder to think about what our grandchildren will say to us one day when they say to us, well, didn't you know? But of course, we do know. And I think this is a fundamental issue that should be addressed by the religious community. They are not at this point taking up the cudgels and looking at these issues. And I think we need to break through that barrier. We all know what goes on today.